Hey,
Hello,
Good.
thank you.
And now I just need to figure out how to stop sharing.
Oh,
Okay, good. Go ahead.
great.
It's all yours.
Okay, great. Well, first, let me go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Fred Chang. I am a Salesforce administrator. I'm actually located in the States, but I'm planning on a move up to Canada in 2024, which is now becoming real, which is great. It's getting very close. I've been part of this group because we've been virtual, and it gave me a chance to really get to know people, which has been really nice. And I really encourage everyone to participate in your group, to really be active. This is really an opportunity to get to know people, and this is honestly, this is one of the perfect size groups. I love, I've also belonged to the Toronto user group. The main one is huge. It's like, the meetings can have like more than 40 people. It's very hard to interact. But this is really nice, so I appreciate you guys welcoming me in. And I love to share. So that's why NASA asked me about sharing something. And I have just implemented Service Cloud for us. And I thought, this is a great opportunity to talk about Service Cloud. So let me go ahead and move into presenter mode. Work better. Let's see. Actually, do I want to, or do I want to just go through my slides? Maybe I'll just, because I'm going to be switching browsers too. Okay, so Service Cloud. So first thing I want to tell you about Service Cloud is I can't tell you how exciting it's been to implement Service Cloud. I mean, okay, I'll have to admit it's partially because I feel like I haven't been as successful as I would have liked to with Sales Cloud. It gets used, but let's face it, there are times when I'm really encouraging, trying to create like the best experience for sales reps to get them to use Salesforce and to not be in spreadsheets and other things, and Outlook and so forth. But with Service Cloud, I have a group of users who 24/7, they are in Salesforce. Like, this is their workspace. It's as if, I mean, imagine if you designed, like, people work at a desk, right? Imagine if you designed their entire desk and everything they interacted with. That's what it's like with Service Cloud, because they are in this thing like entirely. It is their way of emailing. It's their way of phoning. It's a way of chatting. It's their way of recording information, of looking up things. It's everything. And so it's especially important that it be really useful to them and optimized. And they are not shy. They will tell you when things are not working for them, because they can't just, it's not like, you can have sales reps who's like, okay, they'll enter in activities on opportunities if they're the really important activities, like that their boss is asking about. But like day-to-day, like phone calls and stuff, like sometimes they'll say, no, I just do it. I don't really want to have to record it, No, it's not like that. So that's the first thing I want to say about Service Cloud. It's very exciting and fun to be in. But the other thing that I want to make sure new people are aware of is that people talk about these clouds, like these Salesforce clouds. Some clouds are very separate. Like you'll hear about Marketing Cloud, very separate. But Service Cloud and Sales Cloud are basically share the same platform. So it's really not the same. Oh, oops.
Okay. Your sharing stopped in some.
Oh, I'm sorry. Experiencing some technical difficulties. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Okay,
And
I'm
see you.
going to switch to using my laptop because my dock.
Looks like your video is freezing as well.
I think he's disconnecting dock.
We can't hear you. Okay.
Your docking station starts giving you problems. Okay.
Now we can.
So let's see. Let me go ahead and share again. Okay. Customize. Okay. So, okay, I'm sorry, can you see the presentation right now?
Not right now. We see just your desktop screen with northern lights.
I'm sorry, guys.
No worries, take your time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You can hear me okay.
Yeah. We can
Yeah, we
hear you.
can. Yeah,
We just have
we
to get
can
the
hear you.
visuals going.
But
We see your
your-
desktop. We see
Yeah,
your
we see-
desktop.
I should have to using this doc, I think. It's creating an issue.
We are seeing your org, Salesforce org.
Okay, so you're seeing the Salesforce org now. Okay. Let
Yep.
me
Now just empty desktop.
all right, let me go back. All right. Okay. All right, so now we're back. Sorry. I've got too many screens going. Okay. So, oops. Wait a second. Where is my? Oh, wow. Okay. So that just totally. Okay.
Is it a Google presentation deck?
You know what? I will. All right. Let's see. Talk about this. Okay. It actually closed. Not only did it stop presenting, but it closed my browser. So everything I had open.
Yeah, take it easy, one thing at a time. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about this. Okay. Maybe I could ask you for a little bit of a cover here. I know one of the things that we've talked about is how you don't always need a heavy implementation of Service Cloud. People usually think of Service Cloud as being for support workers, when you're tech support. But Service Cloud can be used in a few different ways. Do you want to talk about your company's implementation of Service Cloud?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. And Fred is figuring out the technical stuff. So for me, I have implemented Service Cloud MVP version about 2 years ago. The goal at that time is we have an internal help desk team, so they are helping our sales or marketing team, whoever using the Salesforce. We used to use the third party tool for communication, for raising some request. For example, a sales rep saying, okay, I have a opportunity to close. I need some sales operation team to help me to close the deal, with bunch of operation procedure. Everything was tracked either through we use Slack, either through Slack or through a third party help desk system. And everything is separated from Salesforce, which is that we don't have a history to integrating with. So we thought, why not we are using Service Cloud, because we are already using Salesforce. Every data is in there. We should like bring in the functionality, like having the request on specific record coming into Salesforce using Service Cloud. So that's the reason we are doing we did the implementation, and then we just exploring, what we can do, like because we at that moment all we want to do is like bring in the functionality we are using on different through Slack, people messaging a channel saying, oh, I need help on this, I need help on that record, I need a report, I need running a report issue, things like that. I need new users, I need the function new feature request in Salesforce. Everything related to that, like, so what we did is we did a little bit like brief analyze on, okay, what are the main requests. So then we use a case, the case mini user case object. We created a bunch of the case status, case type, and to categorize what we use to on the different systems, what we are capturing on the request. And we also exploring, okay, we can use the tool called the function called the service console. Service console is basically it's like a dashboard thing, like it contains all your related record within a single page. And it's not like you when you in Sales Cloud, like when you open an account, when you open a lead, they are all in different separate tabs. But in console view, you have an account on top, then you have related case, related contact, all under the main tab. It will be sub tab.
And I'll show that. I'll show that on the screen, so we'll be able to show that. But I think what I think is really important for everyone to realize about Service Cloud is that it can be used for just internal uses. So instead of just being like, I've got a problem with my phone, I got to contact tech support. Like in other words, your customers are contacting you. Sometimes there are different people in the same organization who support others. So you might have, in sales, you have sales reps, but then you have solution consultants or sales engineers who might have specialized support. So you could have the sales reps create cases from the opportunity and say, hey, I need some help with this. And this is what we're looking to do, whatever details you want to pass along. And that becomes a case. And so the solution engineers or consultants, they are using cases as their way of managing their tasks. And
we actually had.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry for it. It just we actually had a very interesting case on our team where the handoff using Service Cloud was done internally. So operations team would coordinate, and it was a construction business. So they would do specialty construction. They would basically secure roads at high altitudes, so to prevent any kind of fall throughs. So they would basically hand off tasks internally using Service Cloud. And then, the technicians would perform the tasks assigned to them according to the project that was created internally and handed off through the Service Cloud.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting, not just support.
Yes, no, that's a good point. Exactly. So now that I have my my system back, thank you. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks, Liza. Part of what I wanted to make sure to do when we have meetings is that it's really just a chance for us to share, right? So it is a chance for people to hear about what other users are doing, right? And certainly I want anyone who's doing something interesting or just wants to share something to speak up. Thank you. So here's an example of extremely simple, some of the features that you can get when you talk about Service Cloud. Like, what is Service Cloud? So first of all, when you have a normal Salesforce app, you've got a bunch of tabs at the top. You was talking about this, that are the objects. Here, the objects are all under this one pull-down menu. Okay, so you can have a home tab, but you can have cases and other tabs, right? Which are your object tab, let's say, right? And so they still have list views, right? You can still view things as list views, right? But then each time you open up a case, let's say, if cases are what you're using, then it becomes its own tab. And what's really cool about it is that if you then open up anything else related to that, like if I want to create something else that's on open up, oh, this is, oh, sorry, this is a special function. Do I have an account on here? Okay, no, I don't have another account on here. If I click on a link to open up another record related to this case, it becomes a sub tab. So it has a system of tabs and subtabs. Okay, I can show you in my other org. So it's a little bit more complex. This is a very simple case because I wanted to show you that Service Cloud can be just a simple implementation. This is a use of cases. One of the nice things about Service Cloud is that it has this feed concept, right? The feed tends to be all your communications or important changes to the case. Okay, what's the idea there? You know, the idea here is, okay, you know, you always think back to a support center, right? That's the kind of concept of Service Cloud is, imagine a bunch of people sitting at computers, and they're all on the phone supporting people, right? Sometimes you have to hand off a case to someone else, right? Because your shift is done, you know, someone else is going to pick it up. So they need to figure out what's going on, like what's going on with this case, right? So the feed gives you one place where I can look at all my emails, any important changes to the case itself, any posts, any calls, right? And so that's what the feed is. So it's kind of a cool feature, right? And just like any record, we can arrange things like as we like. So in this case, the feed is on the left. The related objects are under a tab, so you can still get to that, right? Anything that's related to the case. In this case, the details are on the right. This is where we happen to set things up, right, for this test. So all the fields that would be on the right.
Right, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So do you want us to interrupt or do you want us to ask at the end?
Absolutely. I prefer interrupting.
Okay, so when I noticed your feed, I noticed the tabs, post, email, log a call, new event, and new task. Is that out of the box Salesforce, or is that something the way you've set it up?
That's a great question. So so out of the box, you can have this is called the publisher, or the place where you make things. So I can you know, again, you remember I talked about support workers, they're like 24/7, like in this tool, like they don't use Outlook. Like they okay, maybe they do for some things, but you know, mostly they are here. So they can send emails, right? So Salesforce has their own email, right, handler, and so they can send emails. It's fairly sophisticated, maybe not as sophisticated as Outlook, but it does have things like templates. So I can create templates, right, and insert a template for the email. So maybe there's certain standard responses, right, that you're sending out to people, or maybe there's just certain quick text. I hadn't created it here, but quick text is basically macros of text, that standard text you might want to just insert, right? So there might be certain canned responses you tend to give to customers or to anyone that you're emailing. So I could email, I can log a call, right? Now I don't have it set up here, but we can also set up voice capabilities. And I was going to ask Navir about that in just a little bit, because here I'm just logging a call, but usually when you have Service Cloud, you actually implement telephony within Salesforce, right, or at least integrated into Salesforce. So I can make phone calls from Salesforce, right? Isn't that cool, right? But then you can also create other records, related records, like maybe a calendar event, like maybe a meeting, right? Or a task. You just want to keep track of certain tasks you need to do. So in fact, let me ask Navir to speak on this, since we're just talking about this.
Just before that, right,
yes.
to answer Kevin's question, yes, this is out of box.
Yes, so yes, absolutely. This is all out of the box. These are essentially quick actions. So for those people who are learning about Salesforce and things that you can do, you can create quick actions. And so I can actually create custom quick actions and put them here too, which is fun. But Navir, can you tell us a little bit about Salesforce Voice? Because this is an interesting application. This is being able to make phone calls from within Salesforce.
Right. So the thing is that as a part of please keep this screen. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Because because like I'm not having demo org, so that's my actual client. So I won't be able to say it. So yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So the thing is that so for one of our clients, so that is from health department. Okay. So we have implemented like voice cloud. Okay, so the thing is that like we have set up omni-channel integration, right? So that's again out of box functionality where like we just install the package and have done the configuration. Okay, so two things we were doing. First, like as soon as we were receiving any of the call, then we were creating the cases. Okay, first one. The second one was interesting functionality is like queue management. So they were having very complex structure. So their like support system was 24/7. Okay, so 24/7. So like they were having, let's say, 4 members in first shift, 4 members in second shift, 4 members in third shift. So like tier 1 and tier 2 that support. So for that we have done queue management system. So by that way, like if let's say any of the call is coming, so based on the round robin or any of the like wrap is available for that, so that functionality we have followed. Okay, apart from that, since we were having all of the data inside the system, right? So we were able to see, okay, like how many missed call we are having, how agent is doing in terms of performance, what are the, let's say if somebody is putting the call on hold, right? So let's say if he is putting more than 5 minutes, that do we need to send some kind of notification to his manager and something. So those kind of things we have implemented as well. Okay, and like in case of Salesforce Voice, so these features are inbuilt, like let's say if you need to do call transfer, call conferencing, whisper listening, right? So these are the kind of inbuilt and inbuilt feature. And we have done spam call filtering as well. So we were having certain criteria, like if let's say like a call is coming from these numbers, or let's say if nobody is talking, right, or sending voicemail, then we were filtering it out so that it will not create any of the case.
No, that's
so
good.
these kind of things we have done.
And then when you start to implement these things for your company, you really start getting into the weeds, the details of what it takes to have something that's successful. And if you've got a bunch of calls, for example, you're saying spam calls, you realize this is going to create a problem.
Yes. And like so their feature was, and one more feature like which we are trying to make it sentiment analysis. Okay, so if let's say any of the agent, so that's very important, but this feature is not available like in so I was searching a lot on this one. So out of the box is not available. So what we are doing, based on the calls, we are preparing some kind of transcript, and that transcript we are sending it to AWS. Okay, so AWS is having good sentiment analysis thing. So based on that transcript we are getting that result. So that is some kind of integration like we are doing now, and that is not available in voice thing.
That's interesting. So sentiment analysis. So that means
yes,
really because here's one thing that people don't always realize when it comes to integrations with Salesforce. Sometimes they look at it and say, okay, look, cool, like I can have like I don't have a phone set up right now in here, right? But there's this utility bar at the bottom. This is part of the console in Salesforce. The fact that you can have little useful tools that are down here. So a very simple one is history, right? So this is just my recent records that I was looking at, right? Another one is notes, just a quick place for me to just take some notes if I wanted to. Okay, but one of these could be a phone, right? To be able to just pop it up and have the phone interface, right? Make a phone call. But go beyond that. Once you start to have the data of the phone call in Salesforce, meaning not just the recording of the audio, then being able to use speech recognition to convert that to text, right? And all the analysis that can happen from that. Think about that. I mean, what does sentiment analysis mean, Navir?
Okay, so the thing is that, so let's say if any of the like agent is talking, so they were, like they wanted to do some kind of analysis that if he was in like rude or like with patient, like that, or like how patient was feeling. So that like because like the transcript we are generating from whole conversation, right? Like let's say if agent is talking and that, so like in order to improve the quality, right? So because
Can you
we
say,
so yeah.
can you say you are using to define customer satisfaction based on sentiment?
Yes. So yes, we can say that because so their management wanted these kind of KPIs.
Yeah. And there
So
is
they
one
need to,
question for Robert, from Robert to Narver, I believe, in the chat.
Oh, okay, good. Let me take a look at the question. How much is, how much is Service Cloud Voice? That's a good question, the cost.
Cost is like I need to check actually in terms of licenses, but in terms of implementation it's not difficult. The only thing is that like it will depends upon like which features you need, right? So let's say if your like system is very like simple, so let's say if agent is picking and like 2-3 agents are there, right? And like we are only using standard features, right? But let's say if we will keep adding, let's say on hold is required, right? Let's and you need these kind of additional things for KPI. So yeah, that will be take some time and require additional configuration. But apart from that, all of like omni-channel integration setup, like the whole system, like the phone system, so that's out of box. We need to just set up it. So yeah, in terms of implementation it's not difficult, but yes, like it's like time is definitely we need to
Just question about the implementation. There is Salesforce now has those guidance for Service Cloud, how to do voice, how to do email to service, how to do those things. Did you use some of those to implement, or you were going from scratch with
no from
guidance at
scratch?
all?
No, from scratch.
But what I'm interested to learn from my experience is always from scratch, but I'm seeing those great guidance that Salesforce put in place, and now it's more and more. It's 50 of features that you can get guidance for, and that to put Service Cloud Basic in place. If you click on this link, Fred, Service Cloud Basic on right side.
Yes.
On right side on your screen. You will see that there is there would be features to guide you how to configure this easy. And this is what I'm trying to give answers to Robert. If he wants to get sense how complicated it is, go and run one of those that you want to implement and see what is guidance. They will teach you every single step and help you to set it up very easy. This is kind of my experience, but I was looking forward to see if anybody else was using this guidance and what was.
That's a good point. So I definitely, when we set up Service Cloud, I definitely use this as part of what I would do, because it did walk you through some things. I'll have to think back as to what, because I didn't just use this. This is obviously helpful to walk you through to get a sense of what are the different features and how do you set them up. That's really what these are. Because look, in the setup, you have all these features, right? And you can go directly to them and change the settings. But what Salesforce tries to do is help you to walk through, okay, if I want to set up email to case, connect your support email, right? So they have a more walk-through way of like a wizard way of walking you through, which is nice.
Correct, yeah. And there is also for voice, for other things, and
Right.
A
No,
knowledge base, if you want to use knowledge base and things like that.
right.
You see, this is kind of list of things that you can use to learn what you need, what's your prerequisites, what you need to do. And only thing that they don't disclose here is price. You always need to go back to your account rep to see if you need to pay for something. But
Yes. Now that's a really good point. When you're just getting started with something or getting oriented to what it is, and certainly it's useful to use some of their walkthroughs.
I just wanted to add on the topic of walkthroughs. We recently had a case where we're supposed to do like a chatbot setup, one on Service Cloud, one on Sales Cloud, and Service Cloud. Yeah, and Service Cloud has a very comfortable walkthrough. So actually, the delivery time on the Service Cloud was much shorter than the Sales Cloud, although it was a very similar chatbot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sales Cloud, you have to it's similar configuration, but you have to do it like from scratch. It's not as intuitive.
Okay. Yeah. And what you should know is that what people should know is there's kind of two components. Chat is, at least my understanding, Liza, I haven't done this myself yet. But there's for an agent to be able to chat through your portal to customers, but then a chat bot then can be added so that you can automate some responses or some interaction.
Yeah, exactly. You can do like live agent routing, or you can do like a chatbot. Usually if you have like a high load of chats, like you probably want to do a bit of chatbot just to take off, some of these, generic questions that can be addressed.
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you for that.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Francisco.
So I have a question. The support cloud, it does look very similar to, I would say, Zendesk. And a question probably for Narvir, is there an alternative to the voice cloud? And perhaps if some clients, they want to implement a third-party application like Gong, where I used to work, we used for sentiment analysis, the company used to work with Gong. And I wonder if, because I'm new to this, to Salesforce, if there's a way to implement this through a supported API, or people need to create their own script and integrate that API, or is there any like connector out of the box? Any experience in that regards?
So like out of the box, I don't think so, but yeah, like Fred and Nas, like you guys can comment, but like if let's say if it is not present, so definitely we can do some kind of custom integration. Okay, so like let me give you one example. So I have done custom integration with Twilio. Okay, so like yeah, so like messaging and all, right? So calling and all. So yes, like and like yeah, if you can.
Yeah, I think you guys end up. Yeah, you.
Francisco, to answer your question, so Gong is definitely has a direct integration with Salesforce. So I use that before, and I know it's working. So you can definitely plug in all the voice analyzed through the Salesforce into Gong, and also feedback. Yeah, two-way.
Oh, fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow, I love this conversation because this is like high level, like really into like what is possible and how does this work. And yes, it's true. There is an API integration for telephony platforms and related tools. And I think it's up to each provider, like other company, to build their, Salesforce makes the API available, and so it's up to them to build it. I think that's the way it works, right?
Yeah. So if any of the API is available from any of the system, right? So yeah, definitely we will be able to call it from here. Yeah, and let's say if
Or there's also App Exchange packages. I'm sure there should be something.
Right. That's what I mean when I say they can build it, meaning that the companies that are providing the telephony, the CJ, they can build. You don't have to build it yourself. Like they'll usually, like any big providers will, Salesforce is big, they're big, so.
Yeah, if and if it is famous, right? So let's say if multiple requests are coming in that way, so definitely, yeah, it will be available on the App Exchange.
Yeah.
Okay. There's also is there any documentation on what APIs are supported natively through Salesforce? Is that the App Exchange, Lisa, that I heard you mention?
I rather like the guys handle it. Like I think there is like I think Amazon Connect is like a native telephony solution, right? That would be like when they sell cloud-wise, but
Yeah.
you can work with other.
Yeah, this is Salesforce is supporting now Amazon for additional fee, I believe. But there is other providers historically that was built their packages on App Exchange, and they all worked out those APIs, how they work with Service Console or Sales Console using CTI. CTI stands for
Computer.
telephone integration, computer telephone integration, whatever. It is about telephone integration, and Salesforce has special kit and API for them to use to build their solutions. And then you just need to plug install package, configure it, give your security keys and of your account, and it will work. In theory, it's not science fiction to implement, but you need to kind of learn a little. There is learning curve on everything that you need to set up kind of. Another thing is that you're now using the flows and REST APIs that you Flow is supporting. You always can extend features and do something special if you have API on another side that you are capable to access and do some calls, and this will you give them some information, then process it, then give you message back result. You use it in your process and things like that. This is another option that is getting more and more popular now with Flow's capabilities.
That's great. That's good to know.
What if I want to implement sentiment analysis based on just emails?
You need to send email body to some of those things. Einstein, I believe Einstein has also features for sentiment analysis, but it would be additional add-on on Salesforce feature that you can leverage, and then you can pass a chat message or email message to it and get it back a result and use it in a way that you plan to use it. In these days, problem is that there's so many options on market. And then to choose right one, we try to use events like this to learn from each other, whoever tried something, was it successful or not, and things like that. But it is you need to join to the channels about subject that you're trying to master, try to learn from their lesson learned, and go from there. This would be my advice. Before you jump to anything, do some diligence of informing yourself what is subject, and became subject matter expert in a ways before you make decision to purchase something.
That's great. This has been really a really helpful discussion for me too. It's great to hear things, and I think you're having fun with your presentation when you're learning things too. I think anytime. So I want to encourage you guys, if there's something that you are super interested in, or you just want to learn more about, I encourage you to present about it, because you learn something really well when you present on it. It's definitely a great way of learning about something. And I want you to know that the user group is a safe space, and it's a place where you can get practice presenting, right? And so I love this. It's just a small enough group where people can participate and speak up, and it makes it much more interesting. So I thank you for everyone for doing that. If I would end up on one thing, so thanks. If I end on one thing, it's just to say that one thing I've had a lot of fun with has been when it comes to Service Cloud is the fact that you have all these communication channels that are coming into Salesforce. And so you can, create automations around of all kinds. So when I have, this is a flow that's based on the email message record, right? So when I have an email message, either coming in, going out, I might decide, is it from a customer? Do certain people need certain notifications? Is this the first time we're responding? Maybe I'll have a scheduled path. Do I not get a response in a certain amount of time? There's so many different, once you get them out of Outlook and into Salesforce, then there's so many automations you can create, which you couldn't do in Outlook, right? You couldn't just not do it. But you can do it if they're in Service Cloud. So that's been a lot of fun, and that's just one example of the kinds of automations you can do.
Is there a difference from using Sales Cloud to Service Cloud for all of this? What makes it more beneficial to use Service Cloud?
No, it's a good point. I do keep saying Service Cloud, but the truth is, I haven't covered, and I didn't end up covering, because I love conversation. So whatever we talk about, that I try to pursue. But it's true, I didn't cover, and I should probably just post to the group an article on what are some things that are unique Service Cloud features, right? So there are some things that are unique to Service Cloud that you need the licensing for. One of the more well-known is entitlements and milestones. That has to do with being able to measure SLAs, mostly service level agreements, right? And monitor them. Omni-channel, we talked a little about omni-channel. That's unique to Service Cloud. Being able to handle multiple streams, whether it's phone, email, chat, all these different ways that customers want to communicate with you. Be able to channel those in a way to your agents, right? So that's a Service Cloud thing. And there are others, but those are the two really big ones. Any other really big Service Cloud features alone that people think of?
But there is knowledge base that you need to pay a little more to use it. Then voice, cloud voice is also now part of Service Cloud, I believe.
WhatsApp is another one.
Yeah.
That's gotten to be pretty big now, having WhatsApp.
But you're right, Rob, that you could, a lot of this, like certainly emailing and communicating, can be done. You don't have to have Service Cloud. You can, like, there are salespeople who use like the telephony features, right? It's not just for service. So a lot of things are crossover.
And before few releases, Service Console was kind of special feature of Service Cloud. Now you have Sales Console, what does the same thing as Service Console, available out of the box. What is giving you, if you like more this setup, Service Cloud to use for your sales reps instead of standard classic layout, you now have Service Console that you can leverage, to leverage this. Hey, this is great, Fred. I have 2 minutes for you. Do you want to do something for?
Yeah, that was pretty much what I wanted to cover. I mean, like I said, this was a chance to really just talk about Service Cloud and share what people are doing. Oh, Mitch, did you have your hand up? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I thought I saw a hand up. I want to encourage you, if you have follow-up questions, just go ahead and send me a note. A lot of times I'll end up communicating with people on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, communicate with me there. And otherwise, to communicate with the group, we tend to use the chatter group. It's on the Salesforce.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for the presentation. I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Sorry, is there any material to suggest to learn basics of flow, because I'm struggling with flow?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. What I like I like videos, honestly. I like videos. And so I've tended to use things like the Apex Hours is a great group. They create a whole series of training videos. But what do other people like? I'd be interested to hear.